Bienvenidos a WFAO.
Wow.
Today is Cinco de Mayo, and we are building this brand new JT. It's a either a 21 or a 22. I'm not 100% sure. Eco diesel. As you can see, I'm getting the wheels and tires stripped off of it. We're doing full Ultimate 60s, our WFO long arm kit with the mid arm kit in the rear. Doing new sway bars, doing new inner fenders, WFO rear bumper. And if you come up front, we are going to be doing a Rage 4th front bumper with the ARB compressor inside of it, rigid LED light bar, and pretty much doing the works to it. I believe it's getting a PSC kit for that upgraded steering to turn those big tires and big axles, and she's going to go from stocking to rocking. Well, we're back on the JT here. I'm got the bumpers off, got the sliders off, got the inner fenders out, and we are starting to pull the axles to make room for some big boy products.
Alright, looks like you got the axle out.
Yep, axle came right out. We're just stripping the links, shocks, track bar, all that fun stuff off of there. Get this one on the rack and get it ready to sell. It's day 2 here on this JT, coming in fresh this morning, and today we are getting rid of the tire deflection bracket that seems to be coming on all the new 23s, 22 and up. And after we get that out of the way, I'll be cutting off the factory front brackets to install our long arm kit, get the guy a little more articulation, and hopefully start to get that front axle in there. Well, a little update for you guys. We got in there with the plasma cutter, sliced all these factory brackets off, cleaned it up with the grinder, and just about ready to throw the WFO brackets in on this side. So, gonna get over on this driver's side frame rail, clean her up, and start bolting shit on. Alright, so it's day 3 here back at WFO and back working on this JT. We got everything out of the rear end, obviously, no rear axle, no links. So I just pulled our JT rear mid-arm kit and I got these bolted onto the frame. I got our JT rear track bar bolted onto the frame. We actually have an interference issue on these new 22 23 JTs. They run a tire deflection bracket for collision purposes from Mopar, so we had to remove that. But that wasn't the end of our issues. They actually have ribbing inside of the frame that causes an interference issue with our long arm brackets. So we're currently R&Ding a solution for that. Once we get that figured out, I got the cross member in, I got the driver's side bracket in. We're gonna get both of these axles in here and this thing will be ready to go on the ground. Alright, well, back again here at WFO. Day 4 on the JT. Got the rear axle in. Starting to get the sway bar hooked up to the axle side. Got to throw the bump stop extensions in the back. Get the coil springs in, cycle it a couple times, make sure everything's okay. And then we're going to start moving on to the front and really get things turning and burning. Got those coil springs in. I got the rear locker wiring run up to the front for when we install the S-Pod. Pretty much everything back here is ready to go. Got to do a few little adjustments like we usually do. In the front, we got that passenger side upper link mount figured out, so that's installed. We got all of our links installed. About to grab the front axle off the rack, throw it on there, and see what we can get done today. Friday here at WFO, always a good day. Getting my launch on. And we're back on the JT. Had a little hiatus yesterday to do another job real quick. I'm going to be getting the WFO aluminum tie rod set up in there. Get the ram mounted in there. Hopefully throw the coils in and get it on the ground, and we can start measuring links and getting everything set up where it needs to be. Yesterday I got the winch in the bumper, I got the air compressor, all the lights in there, got everything wired up, the bumper's obviously installed. End of the day yesterday I got that rear bumper installed. Pulled the innards out of these fenders, front and rear. The rears are out so we can mount the inner fenders after powder coat. And I'm getting ready to mount the quick LED corner light installs. And just gonna keep going on cosmetic stuff and wiring, and she'll be getting ready to go home.
We're now observing Andrew in his natural habitat. He has absolutely no idea what's going on right now.
Date 5/6. Today, it's Monday. Back on the JT. Got the e-brake cables hooked up this morning. Got everything adjusted. Just got the rock slide engineering rock sliders on there. Got them all hooked up. Got everything working. Get in here, flip this switch on. That bad boy comes down. You close both doors. She goes right back up. Well, we're not the best keeping track of time around here, so it's day, who knows. But again, back on the JT, got the inner fenders in. Pretty much everything's finalized, all the wiring's finished up, all the lights work, everything's good to go. So I'm waiting on a fitting in the front to plumb the hydro assist ram. For the moment, I'm just tightening up all the hardware, getting all the axles adjusted, getting the track set, getting everything where it needs to be. Once that's finished, once I get that fitting in the front, we can bleed the power steering, get the ram all hooked up, put the tires on the ground, and get to flexing. So we just got the JT finished up, did a couple little things with the taser to get the electronics synced up. Got the tires on, wheels are torqued, all the front steering's all set up, got the ram plumb finally. We were waiting on a fitting, we got that in, it's all good to go. What you're just seeing us do there is when you're wrapping up a winch that has not a cable but a rope on it, you have to have a little bit of tension so that it doesn't loosen up on that spool while you're just driving around. So what we do is we hook it to an anchor point, have somebody sit in the Jeep, put it in neutral, and hold the brakes just enough to give it that tension, and we roll it in with the actual winch itself, and that gives it that good tight wrap, and looks nice, keeps your rope in a good condition, and you're always ready to pull somebody out. Well, we're in the JT this time, not outside, and it's not on the rack, it is driving. And we got everything finished up, got all the power steering figured out, got all the lights wired up, air compressor, lockers. We got this S-Pod set up here. Typical setup we do, but this time we went with a push button style instead of a touchscreen. Steering super smooth. We use the Apex crank up kit for that electric power steering pump because the diesels don't actually accommodate a traditional style steering pump. And that runs into the PSE box and ram and all the like. And I mean, it's butter smooth. It's one finger steering. And we're gonna take her out on the highway here and see how that alignment feels. Let that little diesel wind up a little bit. There we go. Everything feels really smooth, no driveline vibration. That long arm's keeping everything nice and stable. Looks like we got a little fuel light. That's typical with anybody that drives a lot. Nothing we need to worry about. Well, until we need fuel. But drives good. This long arm kit, like I said, keeps things nice and stable. The King shocks are riding good, and steering feels nice and tight. Doesn't try to wander, doesn't try to lean. Pretty nice setup for this JT. All right, welcome back everybody. Back here at WFO up above the shop doing a walk around of this 2023 Jeep Gladiator WILLYs that we just finished building up.
we'll just jump right into everything we did. First off, first thing you see up front here, we got this Rage 4th front bumper. It's pretty signature for a lot of our JL, JT builds that we do. We have the ARB compressor tucked up inside of there for onboard air whenever you need to air your tires up. Got a Warren Xeon 10 winch on the front for when all your buddies in stock rigs get stuck. With a factor 55 fair lead and ultra hook on there to make things a little simpler and look a little nicer. Got Baja Designs lights all through that bumper, and come around to the back and show you in a minute. We got some backup lights from them too. Moving on to suspension, if you look under here, we have our WFO 7075 aluminum tie rod, which kind of spiffs up the front look of all the steering, makes everything look nice and clean. And that's attached to the Ultimate 60 axles we put in here. They have a 488 gear ratio in them that helps that little diesel engine turn these big tires. Right up behind that steering too, we also have our WFO JL JT front track bar, which has a chromoly machined end at the frame side to keep everything nice and strong, not ripping that bad boy out of there. For sway bars to keep this thing nice and smooth on the road, we got the Anti-Rock sway bar in there, front and rear. Really makes this thing drive nice, it handles well. And pair that with the King shocks and those nice coils in there, and it really just has a great ride to it. And if you come up underneath here, you can see what we have attaching these axles to the Jeep, and this is our WFO long arm kit. And this is a welded steel cross member and upper link mount that we sell. You go in, you cut off all the inner brackets for the factory links, bolt this into the factory cross member location as integrated link mounts, and that ties into our 1/4 inch, 2 inch control arms that are plenty strong for anything you can throw at them. Really beefy setup. And then if you come to the back here, paired with our long arm kit, we have the mid arm kit, which is just the control arms, no link or no brackets, no extra frills. Got those King shocks back here too. Same thing, Anti-Rock sway bar. On these, since we do have such a large tire and the factory opening in these fenders is a little small for when they start flexing out, we actually cut out the black plastic inner liner of these fenders to give that clearance. If you roll around to the back, we have our WFO rear bumper for these JTs. It's a nice plate steel welded bumper that ties into the factory mounts, ties into the hitch. Really just gives it that good strong look in the back, and it also keeps you from damaging anything when you come down on rocks. Gives you D-ring mounts, options to mount Baja Designs lights or rigid, whatever you'd like to mount in there. And yeah, this thing really came together nice. It was a good fun build to do. Throw those axles under there, good cross member in, long arm. She rips. Well guys, now that we got this thing finished up, if you want to see any other videos like this, any other builds like this, we got JLs, JTs, CJs, all kinds of Jeeps, maybe even a few Toyotas and Chevys if you're lucky, on our YouTube and Instagram. Follow us at WFO Concepts and subscribe on our YouTube.